Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to Total Traffic and Conversion. And I'm here with Betty Withrow and Roy Dickan. And we've got somebody with YouTube open, Total Traffic and Conversion. And I'm here with Betty Withrow and Roy.
We got an echo somehow.
Yeah, somebody's got the YouTube open, so we can hear ourselves talking. So,
maybe it's my Facebook page. I'll close my Facebook page. I don't think it would do that, but
oh, okay, yeah, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, so we're here to talk about networking strategies, and Betty has a couple of guests, and maybe you can introduce your guests here, Betty.
Oh, I am absolutely delighted to have these guests here today. They're both very high value, highly intelligent and expert type of women. And so it is, I'm going to start with Beth because I invited Beth last week when I was on her brilliant networking meeting. So it's my very great pleasure to introduce to you Beth Bridges, the Networking Motivator, who knows what to do. She's been around and she's connecting and connects and continues to connect. So Beth, hi.
Thank you, Betty. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Yeah. So tell us about you, Beth.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you'd introduce Ginny as well right away, or you want me to give you a little.
Okay, I'll do it that way. We're making it up as we go along here, folks. I literally just this morning reconnected with Ginny, who I hadn't spoken to for years and years, and she reached out to me. Ginny is an intuitive, vibrational, spiritual healer, and she has a lot of different things going on, new modalities that she's learned, new knowledge to share with the world, and I'm getting really excited about the idea of us working together to share and enhance that knowledge for everybody to have a better life, raise your vibration. So Jenny, hi, welcome.
Hi guys, nice to meet everybody. This is so exciting because I have been asking the universe for this sort of collaboration. And so a little intuition this morning told me, reach out to Betty. And it was a long shot that she could help me. And she said yes. And then she told me about Greg and Roy and the show. And it was like, oh my gosh, just what I've been wanting to manifest. So I'm really excited to be with you today.
And here
we're in tune with the universe. That's how you found us.
Okay, so Betty, why don't we continue back with Beth?
Circling back, I once again reaffirm the wisdom and knowledge of Beth Bridges, who is one of the chief driving forces behind the creation of the Blitzer networking platform. Basically, she's kind of the instigator of Blitzer, which is one of my favorite places to go and network, and has hosted, I don't know how many webinars weekly on the art and science of networking, 54 or something like that. And so, yes, Beth, please tell us more about you.
Yeah, mini webinars, I call them. And next week will be my 100th mini webinar on the Blitzer platform. Yeah, crazy. Yes. So let me tell the story of Blitzer and how I got involved with that as a way to kind of illustrate this whole crazy networking thing. 15 years ago, I was the membership director of a chamber of commerce, a large chamber of commerce here on the west side of the country, the west side of the United States, and had gotten very involved in Twitter. And it's really weird to think how not long ago, really, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn were, and connected with someone on Twitter who'd connected with, someone who had a service at that time, an online networking service called Blitz Time, which was VoIP, voice over IP. So you dial into the 800 number, a little bit like, now that I think about it, it's a little bit like those party lines when we were all, teenagers, when you dial in and everybody was not on there, but you'd end up connecting with people one at a time. So there was an introductory lobby, and then you'd be on watching on the screen, and the person's profile would pop up, but you'd be having a phone conversation with them. And it was speed networking, that whole short term, 3 or 4 minute conversation. And then they match you with somebody else and match you with somebody else. Fascinated, because I had been running these things in person for several years for the chamber, and they were vastly popular. They were huge. Business people loved them. So fast forward a little bit, we were actually using this Blitz Time platform, and then it never really caught on, and it got kind of shelved and archived. But once or twice a year, I'd think about them, and I'd think, whatever happened to that? And I'd go check the website, and it wasn't active yet. And I thought, this is too bad. Fast forward to, I think it was probably March 12th or 13th, because California, that's when California shut down in 2020 for COVID. And I thought, I'm going to find those Blitz Time guys. I'm going to track them down, and I'm going to beg them, cajole them, petition them to start it up again. So I was connected to the original founder on LinkedIn. So you have to remember, this was 14 years ago now that I had originally connected with them. Who knows if I was going to find the guy. Found the original founder, the person I had connected to, set up a Zoom meeting on a Thursday, or maybe it was a Friday morning, and told him, here's what I'm looking for. Blitz Time was great. Can we get that started again? What can we do? And he laughed and he said, I'm not involved with it anymore, but my partner who co-founded the original one has been working for the last 3 or 4 months on a video version of it, and they have their second meeting ever in about 20 minutes. I said, sign me up. and so that was almost 3 years ago, and I've just been involved ever since. So, these stories of networking and how something that happened 15 years ago led to an idea that made you reach out and connect with someone who connected you to somebody else. That's the networking story. And I couldn't have told you my end goal in this is to be part of this online networking platform, but by keeping connections, making connections, reaching out, asking questions, being involved, that's where you end up. You end up in good places when you do things like that. So I think that's a good introductory story, and I can fill in more, but
So part of the success is just showing up.
Showing up and not being an obnoxious person is a big part of it, right?
Yeah, we've had that discussion.
Yeah, well, that's part of the know, like, and trust. If they don't like you, then you're kind of out of the game,
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. But for me, I can't say enough good things about Blitzer. I was sitting there in my room going, now what? And then I got invited. I was in a Facebook group. I got invited to be a speaker on an event. I said yes, and she said, well, hey, how about if you come and join us on this new thing called Blitzer? And I went, okay, never heard of it, but I'll go. And I met 7 people in half an hour. And after the meeting was over, I said, what just happened? I mean, literally, it changed my life. It did, Beth. I mean, I spent, you know how it was. We were on Blitzer all the time. And I met so many awesome people there, including Greg, including you, including how many wonderful people that have changed everything about the way that we do things. I mean, it's just really been an innovative, wonderful experience. That's led me to other networks, other people. I certainly would never have met Roy if it hadn't been for Greg. So it's one thing leads to another, one person leads to another. And then all of a sudden we're converging in a place like this. How awesome is that? I love it.
Yeah. Meeting live.
Right. Right.
So does Blitzer meet a specific day and time each week?
No, it's a platform.
It's a
platform where anyone can host their own meeting.
Wow. Okay.
And it's similar to the Zoom meetings that you've been to. Zoom was never really designed for that type of thing, where you get in there and there's 30 people all on the screen, and then the moderator is frantically setting up little breakout rooms, and you're in a breakout room with 5 people, and then you come back and it takes the moderator 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to set up the next breakout room, and then you go into that breakout room and it's 5 people, of whom 2 were in your last breakout room.
Yeah, that happens.
And it just was not designed for that. And during COVID, people were doing the absolute best they could. But with Blitzer, you've got a moderator who has the initial presentation, and I use it like I said, to do a little mini webinar, and then the system automatically sets you up one-to-one sessions, and it doesn't duplicate. And you can also curate, so you can say, oh, I don't need to talk to this person, but I really need to talk to this person, and so the system will adjust to make that happen. And so it is the best approximation of in-person networking events that I've seen online. And I have done a lot during my tenure with the chamber in 11 years. I attended, well, I was the host or the person putting them on 3/4 of the time, 2,500 networking events in 10 years. So I know a thing or two about going to networking events, and that was the closest.
Yeah, it's certainly a different experience. I got on there and says, "Oh, I'm no longer in Kansas." Yeah, this is, but it's fun, right? So
It's a lot of fun. It's energizing too. So having that kind of one-to-one conversation, as opposed to feeling really overwhelmed or drowned out in a Zoom meeting or in a small group.
Yeah, that's right. And then, of course, there's the following up and everything else that goes along with the science of networking. So it really simplifies it. There's a CRM built in, and it's, like I said, it's been a very valuable thing. The events, there's kind of a rise and fall of the tide of events. People come in, they have events, they find something else to do. Maybe they switch collaborators. I'm about to launch a new series with Natalie, who had many events, and we're going to team up and start something new, a different group of themes. So you never know what's going to happen. So I love that. And,
now, Beth, did I hear something about you wrote a book?
Yeah. So backtrack to the chamber, and when you look at doing 2,500 networking events in 10 years, do the math, it's 250 a year. There are basically 45 working weeks a month. So it was 5 to 10 networking events a week. And at a certain point, it was literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I thought, this is crazy. Now it was my job, right? I was the membership director. So a big part of it was my job, but it was also not scalable. And at that point, I was just, it kind of had, obviously I love people and loved going to places and just doing that sort of thing. But I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and you do this. And everything I found online was just tips, which are great. Some tips can be really terrific, but none of them were a strategy. And none of them were really tied together in any kind of framework. None of them were step by step. And I could not find anything that was a strategy. And so I started blogging. I'd started writing down ideas. And that's how the book really started to come together.
You knew there was a need for that, and you filled it. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's how it's done. Well, since I appear to be the sort of default intro moderator, I'm going to bring Ginny into the picture. And Ginny, I would love for you to share with us what you do, what you're about, and what's up next, and everything. We need to catch up.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. First, I just want to say, Beth, I'm going to have to get your book. It's amazing. I think it was a networking event through Julie Fouch that we met. Betty, does that sound right?
That's right. That's right. In fact, I woke up this morning thinking about Julie, and then I found your text. So
Oh,
about that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
synchronicity. Love it. Love it. Yeah. So, but going to local networking events was not always my favorite thing to do. It was always a little awkward, feeling like you're selling to people. But I like the idea of just connecting, and you connect someone to someone else that's beneficial, then they'll connect you to the right person. So I can see online that could be great, because I no longer am really interested in just being local with my services. I really, doing everything online now, that's the way it's going. And so, just getting the word out as best as I can as to how I can be of service to people. So just a little background about me. For many years, I was a dental hygienist here in Monterey, California. And in 2012, apparently a lot of people started getting sick in 2012. I hear this story all over the place, but I got very sick, had to quit the job, had to heal myself. Conventional medicine is very, very common these days. Did not work, made me worse. And so in an effort to heal myself naturally, I started exploring all kinds of modalities. First started out with functional medicine. So I became a functional medicine nutrition practitioner, and would coach people on changing those foundational things: their diet, their sleep, their exercise, their supplements, their stress reduction. And that was amazing. I got huge results for myself and some clients, but it did plateau. And I'm seeing this with a lot of people that I'm attracting now, is they've done a lot of the alternative practitioners as well. And there's something not quite right. They're not at the vibrant health level they want to be. They maybe have some spiritual disconnection that doesn't feel right. They've got relationship issues. Maybe they feel like they're not on their mission, their path, their purpose. And so I've taken everything to a new level. And I learned how to do a modality called Psych-K, which Dr. Bruce Lipton really, really recommends. And that's all about looking at your subconscious programming that often happens when you're a kid that can create self-sabotage. You can have all the best intentions. You've got your goals in front of you. You're trying to create this business or whatever it is financially you're trying to create, and you just can't do it. You can't follow through, or you just get all these self-doubts. And so with Psych-K, we can help very easily. It's a energy psychology system, but very easily, instead of years of talk therapy, we can reprogram these self-limiting beliefs into self-enhancing beliefs. And so I bring that into a lot of my programs that I do for people now, self-empowerment programs, where they take full responsibility for all their manifestations. But then we offer tools to help with all these sort of blocks or imbalances that are getting in the way. I do emotion body code, which is an energy medicine type of thing, where we can, just with human intention and using some Chinese governing meridians in the body, we can delete trapped negative emotions that are blocking their chi. And when your chi, your energy is not flowing, things don't go the way they should in your body and the results in your life. So we use that. I also am a bioenergetics practitioner. So I have a bioenergetic system, a device where I can scan the person's energy field and see, we get this huge report, and we can see where blocks and distortions are all throughout their body, their chakras, their organs, all the way down to the DNA. So it's really fascinating stuff. People love looking at the report. And then we can send them through the ethers. Quantum physics has proven, and you see with your cell phone, that you can reach somebody across the world with the right frequency. When you know what the target is, you can reach them, and I can send them beneficial frequencies that help to rebalance these things. So it's a whole, just new way of looking at wellness and helping people be the best possible version of themselves. And the reason I reached out to Betty is that kind of the new level I'm at now is reaching out to people that we call star seeds. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term, but it's a term that really means people that have what they feel is a soul that maybe has lived lifetimes on other planets. That sounds a little out there for some people. But more and more people are identifying this way, and maybe don't feel quite comfortable in your human body. But we can bring in all the frequencies of a star seed and help people find their soul mission. And that's what I find really ignites people to just push through any adversity, any challenge they have, because they found their mission, their purpose. And they just have that drive that maybe when they were working a 9-to-5 job that sucked the life out of them, they couldn't really get ignited to get up in the morning. So I'm starting a blog, I'm starting a YouTube video channel, and I want to hire a team. So I'm thrilled to find the three of you guys, and we'll be talking, see how maybe we can collaborate.
So Jenny, how do you spell what your program is? Something K, you said?
So that's one of the tools that I have in my toolbox. It's called PSYCH-K. So there's a whole international website, psych-k.com, where people can get information. It's taught all over the world, but it's just one of the numbers of tools I have to help people. And I use muscle testing on myself on behalf of the client. So I become the surrogate for the client. They give me permission to connect with their subconscious. I bring in source energy, and I use my arm here. And so I can ask a question. I can get yes is strong. No, I go weak. And so by using energy testing, I can find out which of these modalities on the day of that session would be most beneficial for that person, and customize it. Sometimes it's a combination of things. We'll do emotion code, body code, and a little psych-K. We've got another thing called Tolpacan healing, which brings in all the ascension frequencies. A lot of people know that we're ascending from the 3-dimensional world to the 5-dimensional world, so we can bring that in. And it's kind of customized to what that person needs that day.
My daughter is really into this stuff. She would love to be talking to you. She understands all that on a level beyond what I can comprehend it. And it's just wonderful to hear you say some of the same things she's been trying to explain to me. So that's really terrific. Oh, yeah. And she has worked with a computer to test where the blockages are in the body, and to figure out where the problem is and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Cool. I'd love to talk to her.
Somehow you guys are on the same wavelength for certain.
Yeah. So once I find my tribe, people that get this stuff and are into it, we can just share all these kinds of ideas, because we're on the cutting edge right now. Our humanity is really stepping into its power. There are so many people on the planet inventing new technology like this, things that can protect us from negative EMFs. It's an exciting time to be alive, you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've been through a few of those processes related to what you've been doing. So there we go.
Oh, cool. I'm glad. I'm speaking gibberish to you guys.
Yeah. So so our theme today is talking about networking strategies. So and now with Jenny, we've taken our networking beyond the planet now.
That's right. Yeah, we network with those ETs, guys.
Yeah.
Universal networking.
Wait, I have to tell you this, okay? So recently I reviewed and made notes on a science fiction story that a very dear and old friend of mine has written. And when she said starseed this morning, I went, oh my. Because it's very much on the same theme that the the politics within our solar system then become part of the research project of a very advanced ET who's trying to find out the history of the galactic migrations. So then I talked to Ginny, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I watched Arrival with Amy Adams last night.
See, well, we can handle this. We can.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess Roy, what's your advice for networking? Because you're involved with a new group. You're hauling Australians into North America now. So what?
Well, not just Australia, but that's all that you've seen so far. But it's worldwide networking, really. But we want to focus on the North American aspect of it because it seems like the rest of the world is actually ahead of us on this. So we need to catch up. But my idea of this and where I'm trying to go with it is that when two people get together, they can produce something that's totally different than either of them could produce by themselves and offer that to clients. And especially like with Greg and Betty and me, we all kind of go after the same clients, but we all have different, what I call niches. We all have our own expertise, which is different, and each of us focuses on that difference. Together, the three of us are much more powerful and can do much more. It's not a lot better than 3 times what any one of us could do. It's like 3 to the 3rd power, but it's even beyond that. The kind of collaboration we can do allows us to offer a much better service than either of us could do by ourselves, but it's also very different than what anybody else is offering in the world and maybe the universe. I don't know. Haven't checked that out yet. But so that is what I'm super interested in, is collaboration. So on Tuesday Eastern time, 5 o'clock. So depending if you're California, 2 o'clock, if you're where Greg is, 2 o'clock. So I guess for everybody on this call except me, it's 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. Did I say Tuesday? We're trying to get people to know others that are interested in collaborating and creating these things that are beyond what any of us could do by ourselves. And maybe we can match up with 2 or 3 or 4 people or more, maybe even, to create something that nobody has ever created before. So that's the focus on it. So every Tuesday at 5 o'clock for 1 hour, we try not to last 1 minute beyond 1 hour because everybody's time is so valuable. We would love for you both to attend when you have the opportunity. And I think that you will meet some wonderful people who want to network, but want to go beyond networking, if you can understand what I mean by that.
Yeah, I put the link in to collaborations connections.com. It's in the chat there. And yeah, come on by. It's a bit different than most of the networking groups we've all experienced. So I think the next question here is, we've all been to lots of networking groups, and we probably had some success, and we've also had some fails. and there are a couple of people that I see in groups. I host a couple of meetings, and there are some people in there every week, and when I talk to them, they haven't got a sale in a year or two. So could you maybe chip in on some advice? Like where do you think people go wrong in networking groups?
Who are you asking?
Anybody who wants to chip in.
Beth probably knows best on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beth.
They go wrong because they don't understand the marketing, selling continuum. That's what I call it. And first of all, marketing, I know you guys know this, but marketing is every impression that you make on someone. And you might make that impression through advertising. You might make that impression through in person. You might make that impression with your building or your sign. Anything that shows people what you and your business are about is marketing. And within marketing is also how you price and what your product is and what your offer is. But we're talking about the promotion piece of marketing. So you have a choice in how you're going to network. So Jenny was talking about going to networking events and not really enjoying it because people were just selling to her. So those were people who decided over here in this continuum between, I'm just going to be networking as a pure marketing endeavor versus I'm just going to sell the heck out of people. And you can be anywhere along that continuum, and you choose to do that. Some people don't think about it though, and they end up all the way over here on the, well, I'm supposed to go to a networking event and I need to talk to people and I need to qualify them, and then I need to see if they're a prospect, and then I need to set up an appointment, and they're running through, half of the sales process halfway between hello, how are you, and it was nice to meet you. And that's uncomfortable to all of us because basically it's cold calling in person. It's cold calling in person. And we didn't like that when people would call us in the middle of dinner. Now it's a little less, I guess, a little less inappropriate because we're at a business event and you would expect that people are, quote, trying to do business. But the expectation is that we are networking, which means more building relationships than trying to get straight to the sale.
Right.
And so I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. The second biggest mistake is related to that. And it is expecting sales results in particular. And if they just did the math, they would realize it's a terrible idea. Not just a terrible idea from a personal interaction sort of way, but a terrible idea mathematically. And here's how it works. You go to a networking event, an in-person networking event, and it's a 2-hour mixer for the chamber. Let's assume you get there at 5 and you're going to stay until I either make you leave or help me clean up, right? That's how it would work if I was in charge of this event. In 2 hours, how many people could you really realistically approach, talk to, get to know enough about them to know if they qualify or not, figure out how to get out of the conversation with if they're not a potential lead, and then move on to the next person. Realistically, you could probably talk to, let's just say you're really, really good at this and you kind of don't care if you are a little bit rude to people. 20. In 2 hours, if you could have enough of a conversation to prospect and qualify someone, you could talk to 20 people like that. 20 probably random people. I mean, they're all business owners, right? But if you are looking for people in a particular niche or who are looking for particular services, what are the chances that out of that room full of 100, 150 people that you are going to talk to 20 of them who are in your market? I mean, chances of that are pretty low, but let's say it's 50%. Okay, you've talked to 20 people in 2 hours, 10 of them turn out to be in your market. Well, we know on average, and it's conventional wisdom, which may or may not be right, 2% of your market at any one time is actively looking for your services. 2%. What is 2% of 10 people?
Pretty small.
It's their arm, right? It's one person's arm. So right here, you are already reducing your chances of making a sale down to effectively nothing. And you walk away and you're like, I worked my butt off at that event. I talked to all kinds of people and I didn't make a sale. Networking doesn't work. No, cold calling in person to somewhat random people does not work. And so that, I think, is a huge mistake that people make. And they just don't do the math. So a lot of times when I speak, when I go and talk to groups, I run them through exactly that math because I am a networking person, but I'm also a digital marketer. It is all about the metrics. You guys know you're marketers. It's all about the metrics. What is my conversion rate? Hello, it's in the name of your event. So if you're only converting 0.2% of people at a networking event, then you need a different approach. And then that's where taking more of a marketing view of networking really comes in, where you're making impressions on people through your networking. And that, you're at the top of the funnel at a networking event with strangers. You're not the bottom of the funnel. So it very much helps to think about networking from a sales to a marketing continuum.
Yeah. I'm going to follow up on that. What I see is the people who don't have any success, the chances of having somebody in the room that actually is interested in what they offer is sometimes small. And then, or even somebody who can refer them is small. As Russell Brunson would say, you have to go where the fish are. The fish for that person is not in that networking group. So either they have to find a different networking group or do something else. The other thing is that this is sort of Roy and I. Well, Betty, we all have the same thing. We have the same habits. We go to a group. First thing we do is we go out and check out their LinkedIn profile. And then if the LinkedIn profile has a website, we go check out the website. So even before we make an appointment with somebody, we've already checked out their online presence. And many have not, either they have no online presence, or what their online presence says to something they were doing 5 years ago and not what they're talking about in that group. So Roy and I have an assessment system, and we also help people fix that. And it's kind of interesting, So we had one of our clients come up, and he told Roy what he was actually making his money on, and we couldn't find anywhere on his online presence where he mentioned that. So you might think about making an offer somewhere.
Even letting people know what it is.
Yeah. And he was kind of saying, they always invite me on their shows to educate their audience. Why doesn't anybody phone me for my service? Because you haven't told them. Anyway, there we go. But as you were saying, many people have the opposite problem in the networking groups. They're trying to sell too early or make the sale. So any other advice for people at this point?
There's so much. There's so much.
Yeah, we could be here. We could be here every day for 3 hours, probably.
And stop. I will tell you though. I'll tell you another thing though. And when I talk about the marketing to the sales continuum, and I was talking about marketing as any impression that you make on people, a very good way to think about your networking is as a persuasion delivery mechanism and an influence delivery mechanism. So when you are talking to people, or when you are online, or when you are communicating with people personally, you're delivering, first of all, you're delivering your brand, by the way. You are delivering your personal brand and possibly your business brand. And for most of us, we're small business people, so we kind of are the brand to a certain extent. But it's also a way to deliver and persuade and influence people. Networking is a huge way to influence people. And when I talk about influence, I'm not talking about the whole influencer thing that's become a thing. It is about guiding people, or not even guiding people. Let me think here for a minute. It's been a little while since I've really dug deep and talked about persuasion and influence. Persuasion is a way of encouraging and motivating people to take certain actions. It's different from manipulation. And it's in manipulation, you're convincing people to do things that are probably not in their best interests, but are in your best interests. And in persuasion, it needs to be in their best interests, unless, there's such a thing as evil persuasion. But then I think that's what manipulation is. So networking is your best brand delivery mechanism, and it is your best influence and persuasion delivery mechanism.
Yeah.
That's great. I was trying to get that type that in the chat. my typing skills have eluded me at the moment, but
for those who are interested in influence, the book, like people are like, there's no Jedi mind tricks, there's no Jedi handbook. Yes, there is, and it was written by a guy named Cialdini, Robert Cialdini,
Right.
and the book is called Influence, and I think he's on his like 14th version or some crazy thing like that. It's a little bit of a academic type of read, so you might be better off doing just some YouTube searches about influence and the seven. He's got 7 laws of persuasion. There's probably a lot more accessible information. The book is good, but it actually was a textbook, so it reads a lot like a textbook. But Robert Cialdini, Cialdini,
CIA. Okay.
Cialdini, Cialdini. And I've mapped out his 7 major rules of influence. I've mapped those out against networking because some of them, networking is absolutely one of the most powerful ways to deliver some of those ways of influencing.
Yeah, I think like the term influence, it's like inviting people into your world. You're not convincing them to do something in particular. You're just saying, hey, come and be with me and let's see what happens. And it's a joyful place to have that. You may or may not even be doing business, but you're learning from each other, which is one of the big benefits of doing business, in my opinion. I mean, that's one of the things that's most exciting to me about the collaboration atmosphere, is that I'm learning so much from these people that I wake up every day going, whoa, I mean, like, here's something new to consider. And how am I going to take action on that? And who else can I tell about this? Who else can I learn about this from? So that to me, influence is a very large word. It's a big tent thing. Where persuasion is different. As you said, Beth, it's a completely different aspect of the art of communication.
Yeah. I'm having fun on Lunch Club, where mostly it's just chatting with interesting people. So, there's just not really a sales component. And once in a while, there's an opportunity to collaborate, but mostly it's just a chance to talk with interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
You're really, if you are 100% need to use networking to make your sales or build your business, you better be really good at it. And you better be studying it as a skill set, as well as sales, because you're definitely pushing towards this sales side of that networking continuum. But it's really hard, and it is basically you have all your eggs in one basket. If you don't have a marketing component to your networking, if you don't have a marketing component to your business plan, you're really balancing a lot of your business growth on a very, maybe it's a thick rope that you've really built up, but it's that one thing. You better be darn good at networking if you're depending on that to build your business. And one of the things that honestly I really discovered is that it's a buttload of work to just depend on networking to build your business. And marketing supports you and builds that up and makes it feeds your networking funnel, and it makes it so much easier. It's actually aspects of marketing that are networking fueled, turn you from somebody who's always seeking after other people into someone who is sought after, and that's just way easier as well. That's just for you to have to be going out, oh, please have some more porridge. That's hard. As opposed, you want to be the guy with the porridge, right? Everybody coming to you going, hey. So that's what having that marketing to sales continuum really can do for you.
Yeah, Beth, I really agree with that. What I like to do and what I like to help other people do is be attracted to people so that they come to you and seek out what you've got. And when that happens, then everything is so much easier. And when you do get into a sales situation, your chances of closing are just tremendously higher. You're not talking about 2% or 0.2% or anything like that. You're talking about 50% or more when people search you out, especially if they know what you do and search you out. So that is really the key to me, is to, like Greg was mentioning earlier, any opportunity you have to tell people what you do, but not in a pushy way at all, but just explain, and then kind of allude to the fact that, you know, you've got an offer along those lines without having to be very specific about it. And when people search you out for that, it becomes a very easy close in comparison to going to a networking meeting with people that you don't know. And so that's what I've been concentrating on for over a decade online. And I think that's what would be very valuable for Ginny, is if she develops her online presence, because for many, many years, I didn't care if I physically got in front of anybody. I wanted them to be able to come to me knowing what I did and having some interest in it. Maybe it was just to learn more about it. And that's where Betty's expertise comes in, because your website can teach people all kinds of things, and Google will bring people to you to learn what you know. And that gives you an opportunity to build a relationship, which could turn into a sales relationship. So that kind of a thing was strong for me. It might be strong for Ginny. I believe it would be. And for some people who aren't so gregarious or outgoing or want to do all this kind of stuff, go to a meeting with 100 people. Whoa, I don't know. You know, doing the online thing just to me is so much easier. Now, you're building relationships. That's all you're really doing. And then, but then when you get together with them, it's a one-on-one thing. And then you can get down and see if that's really a person you even want to deal with. Because if it is, and they want to deal with you, oh, this is it. This is your ideal prospect. And all you've got to do is explain what you can do for that person, especially if in your conversation you figure out what they need, which I think Ginny is really good at. So, yeah, that's where I'm coming from. And
and that's the final component of networking, right? The follow-up. And why do most people not get anywhere with their networking? Because they're so exhausted from trying to push into the market, like Beth said, that they get done and they're like, that's enough of that, man. Well, I hope I don't have to do that again soon. And they don't reach out and follow up with the very same people that they just met. And then the next time they see them, it's like, oh, you again. Yeah, okay, hi. And instead of, hey, good to see you, I'm glad we talked again, or something. You know, it's and as you say, Roy, you know, being the magnet is a great place to be.
If you've developed that relationship, then when you see that person again, you've got something that they enjoy and you may enjoy, or at least you know what they enjoy. So you've got a natural conversation starter right there.
Yeah.
And you can generally improve the relationship every time you have some kind of an interaction with them, whether it's personal or a Zoom call or even an email.
Yep.
Yeah, you gave me an idea. I just had to write it down. Hey, if you're on something like this and you think you're the expert, nope, you better be listening and taking notes. So I always appreciate that. I love to be on a group with people and speaking to people, and it makes me think about networking in different ways. I still haven't thought about it, and I've been thinking about it intensely for 15, 20 years. So thank you.
This is the wonderful opportunity to grow and know what we want to learn next, so we can keep getting better and better every day.
Yeah, there's always something new.
Can I just add something about the follow-up?
Please.
I did network marketing for many years with essential oils and things like that. And it was always like, you give somebody a sample and you give them a couple of days to try it and you follow up. And I just know for myself and a lot of my team, there was always that trepidation, like, I'm going to get a no, it's going to be a rejection, and I'm going to feel like I'm hounding them because I can't get a hold of them or playing phone tag. And so now with the coaching and the energy healing stuff that I'm doing, I have people reach out for a discovery call, so they can get a 30-minute, free call where we can talk about what their goals are, how it can help them, the way I work with people. We can both see if it feels like a good fit. And some people know, right off the bat, it's a yes, and other people are a maybe. And I'm finding now when I follow up that I give them the ability to give me a sacred yes, a sacred no, or a sacred maybe. And I have no attachment to it anymore, which feels really good. And I think they feel that energy, that I'm not like going to have my feelings hurt if they said no. And I actually really respect that sacred no if they're just like, no, this doesn't feel good. It's not right. I don't have the money, whatever. So that's helped me a lot, is just to not have any attachment to their answer and to honor the no and move on. Okay, next.
Yeah.
But one good thing I think with you, Jenny, is that when you've got something that can help somebody. So you can't feel too bad about explaining to them what it could do for them. And then if they say no, they still say no. But you're probably able to figure out exactly what direction the particular product or methodology that you're talking about can help them. And that's got to make it easier to follow up.
It does. Because some people, are new to this whole arena, energy healing and whatnot. And so they're a little overwhelmed when they look at the website. They're like, I don't know what I need.
Yeah.
And so if they, can get a little sample, sometimes I'll do a demonstration. I'll help them with something over the phone. And so they get a little taste of it and they're like, oh, okay. That felt good. That resonates with me. And then they'll feel like they can trust me more. And then if I say, I'd like to guide you in this direction, this feels like it would be, really beneficial, then they're more likely to say, okay, I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah, I think if you can take them down the path that they really would like to go, but have no clue how to get there, that's really got to help with the trust factor there.
Yeah.
I think that non-attachment is a key here, right?
Yeah.
Not to take it personally. And sometimes no is just not now. Jeff Walker tells a story about somebody who was on his list for 12 years, never bought a single thing. Then all of a sudden he showed up for a $15,000 workshop. And it says, okay, I'm glad I didn't bump him off my list.
That's a good point. Because, I wanted to work with Betty years ago, but I wasn't at the right place.
Yeah.
And she's always stuck in my mind. And here it is. How many years later? I'm reaching out. So you never know.
Cool. It's wonderful because when we met before, and like you say, we reach at a very different place, and it'll be awesome to kind of fill in what happened in between part too.
Yeah.
Very fun. Cool. Well, this has been really enlightening and fun. So thanks for
again.
Really, yeah.
And I can't wait to learn more about what Greg and Roy do to help people. I'm looking forward to that.
So maybe we can let our audience go, and then we can stay in the room and chat a bit about that some more.
Okay.
And so, and because we're almost an hour now.
Yeah, and I have to jump off at 2. I have a call at 2, but yeah, let's call it good, as the saying goes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play that little video again, and then those who can just stay with it, and we'll be good. Okay.
Sure.
All
Yep.
right. Thank you.